Hello, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for being here, spending your time this morning with us here at VLAN Asia. Today, we are going to talk about Microsoft 365 add-ons, what small businesses actually need on our live webinar. Today, we'll be joined by Kishan, who is our M365 product expert, and he will be going through what small businesses actually need. So in the past, probably you've been searching for online, not getting your answers, and even ChatGPT won't even answer properly. So today, our subject matter expert, Kishan, will be going through all the add-ons which might be relevant to your businesses. Today's session is geared towards SME and SMBs. So I think it will be a very informative and a very valued session. Kishan, whenever you're ready.
Right. Okay. Good morning, everyone. So, yep, 10:05. So I think so. Can get things started. All right. So let me share my screen. Okay. So, so let me start over again. So, a very good morning, everyone. So, welcoming you guys into another session. I believe so. If you guys, keep on attending our webinars, past webinars, and everything. So, welcome you guys again to our M365 add-ons. So, what small businesses actually need. So, we have prepared a few decks. So before that, I would like to introduce myself to you guys. So my name is Kishan Kumar. So you can call me Kishan. So I've been in this IT industry for about past 6 years, and together with VLAN as well. So past 6 years with them. So I've been actually currently working as a project team. So where I do Microsoft project-based migrations, enrollments into Microsoft environment, right? Together with that, I also working on my trainings as well. So my qualification is I did my diploma in cybersecurity, and then recently I obtained my accreditation, which is HRD Corp Train the Trainer accreditation, right? And then I also have some Microsoft important Microsoft admin expert certification and badges as well, right? So that's about myself. Um, just short and sweet about myself. So if you'd like to follow me on my LinkedIn page, you can always, scan the QR code. You can just follow me. So usually I'll be just, posting about Microsoft, about my trainings and all those stuff. LinkedIn. Okay, all right. So let's dive into our topic today, right? So which is M365 add-ons, right? So basically, for M365 add-ons, what actually the SMB actually need, right? So we will be looking at each and every single add-on, available add-ons, and then we will be actually looking at a possible solution, or before you get the add-on, what you should do and how the add-on license is actually going to help you, right, in your businesses, right? So yeah, our goal here is basically spend smarter, secure better, and work faster. So we don't want you guys to spend something more, right? So you should spend something that you're going to utilize, right? If let's say it's something not for you, then it's not worth, right, every single penny there. All right. So before we actually go into the add-ons part, let's look at the business licenses that small, medium businesses usually will purchase, right? So today we will not be talking about any enterprise licenses. It's mainly on the small, medium businesses focused, right? So under Microsoft business licenses, so we have like 4 different tiers, right? So the least that you can get, which is like the, I would say, the minimum lah, which is you can get it for $3, right? Which is business basic, right? If you are someone that in business basic, then you probably will be using your Microsoft account totally from the web base, right? Entirely through web. So you go to Google Chrome and then you sign in to Microsoft account with your business email, and then you use emails, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneDrive, everything to web. That's business basic, right? And then when it comes to business standard, so whatever you have in business basic, you will have in business standard as well, right? So the difference is basically you can install the latest Microsoft apps, which is the desktop client application, um, right? So you can install that with the latest version, and you just sign in with your email address, your business email address to activate it, right? So this is basically if you are looking for a full desktop version. So there'll be like a team that usually work on, Excel, Word, documents and everything all the time, which need to be synced to multiple areas or multiple departments across the departments and everything. So that's for business standard, like if you're someone that looking for all the desktop application, right? So if let's say you are into what we call a security, right? You are focusing more on your security baseline to implement security stuffs in your environment, right? And you want everything in a bundle instead of purchasing as a standalone license, like grabbing it one, two over here. Instead of that, you can just go for business premium, right? Per user, I guess so you'll be paying about $22. But for $22, the things that you're gonna get inside business premium is quite a lot for SME companies. If you are really focusing on security, then it's quite worth to go for business premium, because it looks like kind of like an enterprise level of security stuffs. It depends on how you are actually utilizing it, right? So what are the things you get in business premium? So whatever you have in business standard, you will get in business premium. So basically the desktop applications and everything. So on top of that, you will basically get what we call Defender for Business, which is endpoint security. So you don't have to go and purchase a third-party endpoint security like Avast antivirus or maybe any other third-party products, because Business Premium comes together with the endpoint Defender as well, which is also including the EDR portion. So EDR is something that you should always look for whenever you are looking for endpoint. So right now, if you're looking for any endpoint solution, make sure you identify whether the endpoint provides EDR solution or not. So EDR solution is something very important and crucial for all the endpoints at the moment. So without EDR, it's something like you don't have both of your hands, like you basically with one arm. I mean, like one hand only, lah, right? So it's like a handicap kind of thing. All right. Okay, so what else we have is Intune device management. So you can enroll all your devices into Intune portal to manage the device through the portal itself. So we will look at what Intune can do and what's the benefit and everything. So that's something included in Business Premium, right? Other than that, we have Azure Information Protection and data labeling as well, right? So you can actually label your documents. You can, protect by using sensitive labelings and everything, right? Other than that, you have conditional access and then MFA enforcement. MFA enforcement, it's actually now standardized to all the licenses. So here in Business Premium, you get conditional access as well. So conditional access means the name itself gives you the definition. So basically, it comes with a condition in order to gain access. So that's what conditional access means. So basically, if let's say you want only people in Malaysia, like from Malaysia, can access your Microsoft environment, then you can actually put this as a condition. The device or the network should be in Malaysia environment, Malaysia, service provider, in order to access your documents or anything, right? So this type of condition, that's one of the example, right? So we have window autopilot deployment. So that comes under the Intune as well. So where you can actually automatically enroll your devices, your Windows into the Intune portal. Right. So the last one, the last portion that we have, what we call the license, is apps for business. So apps for business is something that a little bit different compared to the first three, because apps for business is just apps only. You don't get any email services inside there. It's just the application. So just imagine you go and purchase what we call Microsoft Office installer, or maybe activation key kind of thing. So instead of, purchasing an activation key, something that you get inside the car, inside what we call a box, right? Where you have a small disk inside there where you can install it. But now we actually go for apps for business, whereby you just purchase the license and then you use it or activate it using email address. No more product key already. So everything attached to the email address. And whenever you use the email address for activation, just type in the email address and password, you can activate the application, right? So that's what you have in apps for business, and there's no email services under apps for business. You get the Outlook application, but you don't get the Exchange services, right? So that's for apps for business. So, so these are the four licenses that we have in Microsoft environment for SMB level, right? So we are not going into enterprise, like I mentioned. So from here, what we're going to look at is, even though if you purchase business basic, standard, right, you still can go for a certain solution where you can actually, for example, if you're looking for some security solution, if business premium is too expensive for you, you can just go for, some add-ons that I will show, where you can just protect your emails, right? Where you can actually enroll your device alone. So all these things actually comes with add-on licenses. So you don't have to straight away go for business premium. If you are in business basic, maybe you can just purchase what we call um, your email defender first. So you just add on one license and then you secure your emails for time being. So you can actually go further from there instead of straight away jumping into like business premium, which is $22, right? Okay. Right. So first of all, one of the things we're going to look at is productivity based add-on license. So I have like segregated into a few segments where we will be focusing on productivity. And then once productivity is done, then we'll be focusing on the security part, right? So because we have to understand there's also add-on licenses for productivity. So I will show in a bit. So basically, the next topic is related to productivity, right? So extend your 365 plan with a specialized add-on for emails, storages, project management, and also Power Platform. So this is what we're going to focus. There's no security part that we're going to focus here. So it's email, storage, project management, and Power Platforms, right? Okay. So the first part here is basically Exchange Online Plan 1 versus Plan 2. So first of all, everyone should understand what is Exchange Online actually. So Exchange Online is the email service that Microsoft providing. So everyone will think that do I get Outlook, right? Outlook is actually an application. Exchange is the email services that Microsoft is providing, right? So if you are on Business Basic or on Business Standard, right? So basically you will be having this Exchange Online Plan 1 by default, right? By default, you will get this 50 GB of storage. And also you will be able to enable this 50 GB archiving as well, right? So that's what the common, standard email users requires lah. So business basic or standard. If you are in Microsoft environment right now, this is what you have at the moment, right? The plan 1 by default. So there's another one, what we which is we call as Exchange Online Plan 2, comes as an add-on license. Okay. So this add-on license basically provides us 10 GB of storage and also 1.5 terabyte of archiving. So last time we called this as unlimited archiving, but now Microsoft changed it to 1.5 terabyte of archiving. Technically, it's kind of unlimited because if let's say you are someone that use 1.5 terabyte of emails storage, I'm not sure how long you're actually working in the same environment, right? So yeah, so before you go for Exchange Online Plan 2, right? So before you actually go for Exchange Online Plan 2, okay, What are the things that you can do in your current 50 GB? Right? The first thing, you can actually enable the archiving 50 GB, right? You can enable archiving. You can set retention policy. We call it retention policy, whereby what you're going to do is you're going to tell your mailbox emails that are older than 3 years or 4 years, move to archiving mailbox. So once you set this retention policy, right? So basically your regular mailbox, which is full at the moment, which is 50 GB, right, will actually clean up and move the emails based on your policy, whether 3 years, 4, 5 years. So let's just take 5 years. So all 5 years of email, any emails that older than 5 years. So maybe you're working on in the company for 10 years. So the moment the emails that reach 5 years older, everything will be moved to archiving. So technically, you are going to save about 50% of your current mailbox storage. So from 50 GB, you'll be down to 25 GB. So depending on the storage that the 5 years of data is taking up, right? So you can do this method first, which is the retention policy part. And the second part is you need to do your manual cleanup, which is deleting or, or taking up as a backup PST kind of thing. But then taking up backup PST is not recommended because, technically you're keeping it as an offline PST, not online, which is on the Exchange server, right? So once you take these remediations, then you can actually opt for Exchange Online Plan 2. So for an instance, your 50 GB of the mailbox storage is full and your archiving also is almost full. So you don't have anything else to do. That's when you should go for Exchange Online Plan 2. So you can actually increase your regular mailbox storage as well as your archiving storage as well, right? So that's the main goal or main idea that you should take. So make sure you apply the remediation first before purchasing the add-on license. That will save you a lot of money because sometimes what happens is when you request saying that my mailbox is full or anything, so some of the vendors or clients, they will straight away opt you for the add-on license, which is Exchange Online Plan 2, which is, yeah, from the sales point of view, they are trying to sell it. But then from the technical point of view, you can do or take some remediation steps first before you go for Exchange Online Plan 2, right? All right. So now we go for OneDrive. Okay, so OneDrive is also have two different plans here, right? So OneDrive Plan 1, which is the default one, comes with 1 TB, which is fixed. So the moment you purchase Business Basic or Standard or Business Premium, you will get this 1 TB of storage, OneDrive. Each user will get it. So if let's say you're someone that need more than that, more than 1 TB, then you need to go for Plan 2. So Plan 2, you will get 1 TB, which is the Plan 1 license. On top of that, you can expand it up to 5 TB. So it's up to you how much you want to expand it, but you should purchase the OneDrive Plan 2 first. So once you assign it to the person, so for example, you assign the license to person A, and you are the IT admin. So as an IT admin, you have the privilege to slowly increase the storage. Instead of straight away give them 5 TB, you can gradually increase. Maybe first you add up to 2 TB, and then you add up to 3 TB. Then once it reaches 3 TB, you ask them to do cleanup first. Don't add them 4 TB, 5 TB, then they'll use up that as well. So you ask them to do the cleanup first, and then you see whether you need to add them, furthermore storage or not. So that's on the Plan 1 and Plan 2. Okay. Now, if you can see, I can see it's a little bit small, which is retirement timeline, but then I have, you use it on the next page as well. So similar to OneDrive also, we have SharePoint Plan 1 and Plan 2, but I'm not explaining about what Plan 1 and Plan 2 gives, right? So what I wanted to show you guys is the retirement announcement, right? So what Microsoft has announced is basically um, anybody that using OneDrive Plan 1, Plan 2, or SharePoint Plan 1, Plan 2, which is the add-on license, the individual add-on license. If you are already have that individual add-on license, right? So you can see here is end of sale June 2026. No new tenant can be created. So basically renewal for existing customers only. So if you are an existing customer that has OneDrive Plan 2, or maybe you purchase SharePoint Plan 2, kind of things, then you can renew 1 more year, right? But from January 2027 onwards, no more renewal. So if your renewal falls this year, June, for an instance, you can use until next year, June. Then after that, you cannot renew indeed, right? So that's for OneDrive Plan 1 and Plan 2. So they are totally removing it. They are removing the entire add-on license, right? So you might be thinking, if they are removing it, why are we actually showing this here, right? So this is where we need to understand about the what we call the updates, which is very important update, because I never know which customer is actually using the standalone license, right? The add-on licenses. So in future, Microsoft will announce like where does the 5 TB falls in, or whether there's any new upcoming plans coming in. So all these things will happen. But at the moment, until like from next year, there's no more OneDrive Plan 1, Plan 2, and SharePoint Plan 1 and Plan 2. So this is the retirement announcement about the add-on license, right? So now let's look at project plan. So I believe you guys have heard of what project plan is, right? So project plan is basically last time it's actually project plan, but right now Microsoft is integrating project plan together with planner. So if you're someone that use planner in your teams, or maybe the standalone application planner and everything, then you might understand what this topic is really about. So in what we call the normal business basic and standard license, you have a project plan, all right? The basic one, right? You have project plan, the basic one. So you can see here is planner one, so basic task and also plan management. So that's plan one, what you can do. So premium planner features, the timeline, backlogs, uplift, so all these things like sprints, goals and everything. So this is under project plan one. So if you open your planner, um, you can see basic plan, and if you purchase this planner plan one, you will have another tier called premium plan, where you will have different views, right, on the dashboard. So the dashboard is totally looks premium, and that's what they say, the premium planner, right? So it looks different. It gives you much more what we call additional dashboard views, additional features inside that, right? So reports and dashboard, like I mentioned, and also task dependencies. Okay. So what you don't have inside there, there's like about 5 main things that you don't have in plan 1. So planner and project plan 3. So that's what we call, it's about $30 per user per month, right? So everything in plan 1, you will get in plan 3 also. So on top of that, you will get advanced project management, which is dependency baselines, and you get project online plus desktop client. So you can install the latest version of project plan to your desktop. So you get your desktop application. The plan 1 is totally on the web or through Microsoft Teams. But when it comes to Project Plan 3, you get the desktop version. So it looks much more different compared to how you use in the Teams or web version. It's totally different, right? There's a lot more things that you can actually do in the desktop client, right? So resources, requests, program management. So Copilot in Planner. So you get to use Copilot in Planner straight away without even purchasing Copilot license, right? So you don't have to purchase a Copilot license. The Copilot is built in the planner. You get to use that the moment you get planner 3, project plan 3, right? So this is best for project management team. So if you have a project manager, they have to track a lot of portfolios, projects, and all those stuff. Then they are the one that require this license. Not everybody in your organization, some of them, right? So the last one is planner and project plan 5. So there's 3 tiers here, right? Under planner. So here you get everything in plan 3. On top of that, you get to create portfolio management. And then you get enterprise resources. So project plan 5 usually for enterprise level. So not for the SME level. So SME level, you can actually focus on plan 1 or plan 3 first before moving on to plan 5. So they get portfolios, Copilot in Planner, and then basically they get highest tier advanced capabilities. So they have like multiple level of security baseline implemented under the planner. So it's totally different experience. So I'm not going to talk much about the planner 5 because our main goal here is to focus on the plan 1 and plan 3 only, right? So if you're looking for Copilot built in, right? So then plan 3 is your main focus here, right? So if you're looking for project plan, project trackers kind of things, right? Okay. So Power Platform add-ons. So Power Platform add-ons, by default, you have Power Automate free, Power BI free, Power Apps free. All these, the basic things that you can use is already inside what we call your license, your baseline license, which is Business Basic Standard, right? So it's already there. You can actually start using it first, right? The moment you find it, what we call useful, or you need to set up even what we call deeper, or maybe utilize even more functionality of the certain applications, that's when you need all these add-on licenses, right? So first of all, Power Automate, we have premium, right? And then the bottom part, I'm not going to touch, right? That's all enterprise level. So that's just for your viewing purposes. But we will be touch base on the first level only, right? So Power Automate Premium. So basically, it's $15 per user per month, right? So one of the things you get under Premium is a Cloud Flow digital process automation, right? And then attended desktop flow. So you basically get to perform all the desktop flows, right? So for example, if someone downloads something, move the files directly to OneDrive or SharePoint, so kind of things. This is more of like a desktop. Like you can actually do the flows, automation flows directly in your desktop, not on your emails alone or not on your files alone. This is directly from your desktop, right? So that's much more advanced, I would say, which is you're focusing on the desktop flow, right? Other than that, what we have is standard premium and custom connectors. So you connect. So what is connector is basically a place where you can connect different applications. So if you're, let's say, if you're looking for some automations, so Power Automate is basically automation stuff. So you're looking for automation among third party and Microsoft. So you use the connectors, so basically to connect Microsoft environment to any third party environment that you're looking for. Then you can do the automation stuff. So maybe sometimes you just with your HR system or maybe your account system kind of things, and you can actually connect to it and then use the automation stuff. You grab the what we call the data from a certain environment, you collect all the data and then maybe compile it through the automation and then send it to a person so you can do all the stuff, right? So other than that, we have process and task mining. So that's what I mentioned, all these things, right? So, and then we have like managed environment. So you can create multiple environments. So maybe you have your HR environment, you have your accounts environment, finance environment. So you can create multiple environments so that you can manage it thoroughly and it's easier for you to do. So that's on Power Automate Premium. So Power BI Pro, it's basically $14. So Power BI is basically allows you to create dashboards, right, on your own creativity. So, and you can also create the dashboard and publish it as an application. Like you can download it in your mobile phone. You can use it through your mobile to access anything in your environment. So there's one client recently when I go for training. So they actually heavy Power BI and Power Apps users, right? So what they did is they create their own automations with some of Microsoft applications. And then what they did is they create their own app, right? So all the employees install that app into their mobile. So whenever they want to submit a travel claim or submit a leave, they use that particular application, which is the Office application. And then inside that, they have multiple forms for them to submit, right? So this is what they did in their environment. Quite nice to see when they utilize all these features, right? So on basic Power BI, you can create the web version of dashboard reporting kind of things. But when it comes to Pro, that's when you can actually pull data from another place and then show it up in your own Power BI platform dashboard, right? So on the reporting part, so you get 1 GB of model memory limit, and then you get schedule refreshes per day, and then 8 schedules, sorry. And then you get 10 GB storage per license. So it depends on how many license you purchase. Each license will contribute 10 GB of storage. So why we need 10 GB of storage is basically for the entire application, entire dashboard that you're going to build. So it can be, as big as 2-3 GB in a single application, because application is always heavy, right? So just imagine you are installing your what we call some random games in your mobile. So it takes up almost 1 GB, 2 GB sometimes, right? So that's how big the application can go. So that is where the storage comes in. It allows you to create the application and store in your own environment, right? So that's on the Power BI Pro. So Power Apps, we have premium here, which is $20, right? So build and deploy unlimited apps, right? Unlimited Power Apps and Power Pages. So you got Dataverse as well, and then premium and also custom connectors, on-premise data gateway. So this is more of like uh, add-on or maybe advanced version of Power BI, where it allows you to customize a lot of things on your application level, right? And also it gives you Dataverse and premium and custom connectors, all this stuff. So this is more of an advanced kind of things when it comes to Power Apps, Power BI, right? So if you're actually looking for these Power Platforms, then for any deep dives or want to learn or understand even further, then you can always reach out to us, right? So in this session, I'm just giving you a heads up what we have or what are the add-ons you have or you can explore, right? So usually, based on my experience, if you ask me, does SME really require Power Platform? At the moment, people are not actually focusing on Power Platform. People are actually more focusing on the security part, which is the next topic, few topics that we'll be talking, right? But Power Platform is something that you can always explore with the free version first, because the free version itself allows you to do a lot of things. So you can explore that first before jumping into any add-on licenses, right? Okay. So by saying that, we actually completed our productivity-based level of licensing, right? So that's what the basic licenses that you have to understand, which is Exchange Online, OneDrive and SharePoint add-on licenses going to, retire very soon. So you have project plans and then the Power Apps, your Power Platforms. So other than that, if you ask me, is there anything else like add-ons that really focusing? There's a lot of add-ons. In Microsoft environment, there's a lot of licenses. But is it really important? That's the question mark. So this is where today we're just looking at the basic baseline licenses, which is quite crucial and important to understand. Right. So now we'll go into the security part, right? So security part licenses, we have a few or maybe plenty of it, right? So security add-on licenses. So here we will be looking at the topic slightly different. So all the while we were actually looking at the licenses and also what are the features. Next, we will be looking at the licenses, what are the features, and additionally, we will be looking at when actually do you need it, right? So all the while I was just explaining, but now we will be looking at on from a slide perspective. So we will also use some use cases, right? So give you a better understanding, when do you really need this security? So you can ask the question yourself, right? When do we need them, right? So you can ask your question, ask the question, do I need this? So that's how we're gonna identify your needs actually. So yeah, let's strengthen your security posture with advanced threat protection, identity management, and also compliance add-ons, right? So yeah, so this is something that I always focus on, which is the security pillars. So I call this as security pillars. So you have like what we call 4 security pillars. So 4 core pillars across business basic, standard, and premium. So up to 300 users. So this up to 300 users, something that you were looking from the first slide itself. So basically in SME level, SMB level, you can purchase business basic, standard, premium, maximum 300 license altogether. Not each license 300, huh? Not 300, 300, 300, 900, no. Altogether 300. So if you purchase business basic 100, you can purchase standard 100 and premium 100, something like that. So altogether should be within 300. If you go more than 300, you will automatically fall under enterprise level, and you should actually, based on Microsoft licensing agreement, you should go for the enterprise licenses. No more business, the SMB level. You should go for enterprise licenses already, right? So yeah, coming back to our security pillar. So I usually, give this security into divide this security into 4 pillars, right? So the first one is basically identity and access. So identity is where you should start your security with, right? You should focus on securing your identity. So identity in terms of your user accounts, your email addresses, right? And their access. So that's what identity and access. So basically, you can see control who access your data with conditional access, MFAs, and also single sign-on, SSO, right? So in this particular identity and access, we have 2 products here, which is the Entra ID P1, and then we have Entra ID P2, which is plan 1 and plan 2 technically, right? So each plan gives you an additional features to it. So we will be looking at identity and access first, and then we gradually move on to the next pillars, right? So yeah, right. So our first focus is basically, like I mentioned, identity and access, right? So control who can access your environment with identity, right? Identity tier, conditional access, and also MFA add-on licenses, right? So you can see here, we have Microsoft Entra ID. So last time, if you are someone that working in Microsoft environment or understanding Microsoft environment for quite a long time, then you might be heard of this license where they call it Azure Active Directory, right? P1, ADP2. So that's what they actually rename it into Microsoft Entra ID, right? P1 and P2. So let's look at the free version first, which is right now it's already applied in your business basic standard licenses, right? Right. So Entra ID free version is basically you can create users and group management. So you might be thinking, I'm actually purchasing business basic. So the moment I purchase the license, I can actually straight away create the users, right? But then that's where this security baseline, Microsoft always implement the baseline security to at least secure something before you go for the advanced license. So that's where all this Entra ID free, there's much more free versions that is already coming together with your licenses at the moment. So that's why it allows you to create user, because it allows you to create an identity, right? So each user, each group is an identity, right? So, and then we have basic single sign-on, right? SSO. So, and then we have MFA via security default. So the moment we enable security default, MFA is a compulsory thing for everyone, right? And then we have basic security report. So you can just go to your security portal. If you are an admin, go to your security portal. You will see the basic, reports and also, the quarantine page and all those things. Right. So SSPR for admins only, but then SSPR is something that already rolled out for most of the what we call tenants. So what is SSPR is self-service password reset. So you can basically reset your own password, right? So you don't have to, send a ticket request to your IT admin or maybe your IT vendors or anyone. So you can reset your own password at any time, right? So this particular free version is already included with your business basic, standard. If you are under enterprise license, in case it's under E1, E3, and E5, the free version is already there, right? Okay. So this is basically a small team with a basic identity need. So if you're not really focusing on the identity part, then the basic stuff, the free version is sufficient enough for you, right? So now let's look at what we have in the other end. So we have like Entra ID P1, which is $6 per user per month. So all these are $100. So because we have to follow Microsoft pages and all those stuff. So but then when it comes to Malaysia, we call it as emerging market. So the prices might different, and also if you guys realize, if you purchase monthly, the price is different. If you purchase for annual commitment, the price is different. So we'll just look at the monthly version and using the dollars value, right? So under P1, you will get everything in basic plan, right? Which is the free version. On top of that, you get conditional access policy. So conditional access policy, like I mentioned, you're able to apply conditions. So like I mentioned, the first thing, which country the user or the person should be in order to access your data. So that's on the country level. And maybe if you, let's say, you want to focus more on like they can only access my company data when they are in the office network, then you can apply the conditional access where you restrict using IP addresses, sort of things, right? And then you can also apply whereby if, let's say, the password strength is low, then you can ask them to reset the password before you access it. Make sure the password strength is good, then you can access the documents. So all these things, much more things you can do under conditional access. So self-service password for all users, but this is something that is already rolled out under basic plan itself recently, right? So we have dynamic groups and also naming policy. So that's totally dynamic groups means security groups, totally a different purpose. That group, it's not something that the regular groups that you're going to use for your the Teams or SharePoint group. It's totally different. So we have hybrid Entra ID join. So if you are someone that have the AD server in your office, a physical server, then you can actually utilize this P1 for all the users, and you can work like you can join your Microsoft environment and your Active Directory into a hybrid mode. So whereby there's different connections where you can set up, which is like you can utilize the server in your own office, server in your office, or the Entra ID version, right? So that's what we call hybrid setup, right? And then application proxy. So that application proxy is normally not really touched much at the moment if you are looking for the P1. So no identity protection. So identity protection or PIM. So privilege identity management. So that's something, it's not under P1. So it's basically an advanced version of identity management. So here under P1, you have conditional access. That's how you're going to manage the access. But privilege identity management, it's totally different. So I'll talk about that when it comes to P2. So P1 is included in Business Premium, M365E3, and EMS E3. So under enterprise license, it is already included. If you purchase business premium, this is something included. Okay, so if you are taking notes right now, you can just write up business premium, $22, right? And that $22 is also covering this $6, which is a separate add-on that you have to purchase if you are under business basic or standard. But if you go for premium, this $6 license is already inside there. Okay, under $22. So first, business standard is included in business premium, which is the $10, and now $6. You have to plus this $6, which is $16 of business premium is what we look at it so far. So we will look at the amount or the calculations at the end. If you purchase everything as an add-on license, what's the cost? And if you purchase business premium alone, what's the cost, right? So look at it at the end. So Entra ID P2. So you will get everything that you have in P1, right? On top of that, you will get identity protection and privilege identity management. So PIM is the main talking point in plan 2, right? Other than that, we have risk-based conditional access. So risk-based conditional access means if let's say the device or the account is under a medium severity risk or high severity risk, then they cannot access the document or access any data in your environment, including emails. So that's on the risk-based conditional access, right? So we have access review, advanced security reporting, and also entitlement management. So all these things I'll just explain in a nutshell. So this is basically comes under the PIM, privilege identity management. Okay, so what is PIM is basically you giving them access, right, for a certain period of time. So for example, if let's say user A needs to access a document, first of all, they have to request. Then you as an admin, you go to this PIM, you give them a privilege access, whereby give them access for 1 day, maybe a few hours, 2 days, something like that. So after that number of hours or days, the access is automatically revoked, right? So you don't have to go and revoke the access, it's automatically removed. And if they need access again, they have to go through the same process, right? So this is to keep the what we call sharing of the data much more cleaner. Because if you are using your OneDrive and SharePoint, definitely I can guarantee you, you share the document and then you just leave it like that forever, right? You don't even go and remove the access or delete the link that you share. You won't do all these things, right? So once you share that, say it's going to be there forever, right? We never know whether the link or whatever that you share was, shared to another person or they are accessing it. We never know all these things. But PIM is actually removing that thread, right? So after a certain number of days, automatically remove it. That's number one. Number two, you are giving them some advanced or additional role for them to access. So for example, if you are an admin, IT admin, so you have another IT admin in your organization. So he would like to make some changes, or maybe he's working on something that requires additional role. So maybe he needs some Exchange administrator or SharePoint administrator role. So you can basically assign the user or person the role that required for certain number of days. You as a global admin, you can assign the role, and after that certain number of days or certain number of hours, that access will be revoked automatically, because you don't want to keep multiple admins in your tenant. So if that's something that you are looking at it, then you can do that, right? So all these are the things inside there, right? So now let's ask when actually we need this type of license, or which Entra ID license do you need? So like I mentioned, if your question is we just need basic sign-in and MFA, then you just remain on the free version, right? If let's say you are looking for, we need to control who access what, from where. So that's the point here, from where. So if the location is something that, bothers you, then you should go for Entra ID P1. So you don't assume that the moment you assign one license, you get all the feature. Basically, you have to assign to all the users. Then only you get to use these features or implement this feature to all the users. If not, whoever having the license, only they get this implementation, right? So you must get the license for all the users in your environment. That's for P1, focusing on the location. So Entra ID P2, basically, if you are handling sensitive data and need zero trust identity. So zero trust identity means you basically not going to trust anybody, including your internal staff. Okay. So that's zero trust identity, including internal stuff. You're not going to trust them. So you're just going to give them access, temporary access for certain number of days, then it automatically revoked, right? So that's how you should ask question, right? So business premium is already included P1. For P2 features, add Defender suite if you require, or you can just add Entra ID P2 as an add-on, right? So this is the main questions that you should ask yourself before focusing on the license that you're going to purchase, right? Where you should know where you're actually standing, because we don't want you to overspend, right? So that's how you can actually focus on the pricing part. So by asking the right question. All right. So that's on the Entra ID. So coming again, like saying this thing again, if you have any questions, right, always drop in the Q&A session we have, right? So we will come back to the questions. We will answer all your questions at the end of the session, right? So don't think that I'm not addressing any questions that you guys have, right? So next up, we have the second pillar, which is security and threat protection. So for me personally, this is something that we should really focus on. This is the main part, I would say. Identity for SME, you can just focus on the free version, which is you make sure enable the MFA. You can enable SSPR, which is self-service password reset. So you can just focus on the basic things. But this is where the security and threat protection is the most important portion for you guys, right? So this is where we're going to strengthen, your security posture with advanced threat protection, endpoint defense, and cloud app security. So cloud app security is something that I just explain what it is, but that's main focus is on the enterprise level. So our main focus here is advanced threat protection and also endpoint defense. So these are the two things that we're going to look at. So let's just jump in. So straight away, we are going into Microsoft Defender for Business. Okay. So Defender for Business is actually included inside your what we call business premium, right? So again, if you're taking note, so business standard $10, Entra ID P1 is $6. So now we are at $16. Now you can add on this Defender for Business, right? Which is also comes under business premium. So $3. Now we are at $19, right? And the original, the entire suite of business premium is $22. Now we are almost at, we reached to $19 already, right? So let's look at what are the things we're going to add on into business premium and look at the comparison of price if you go opt for all the add-ons or go for suite, right? Right. So what is Defender for Business? Like I mentioned, it's an endpoint, right? So it is included in business premium, and it is a $3 standalone license, and you can purchase up to 300 per tenant because you are at SMB level, right? So you can just purchase 300 licenses. Okay, so best for SMBs needing enterprise goods endpoint, right? So enterprise grade endpoint, sorry. So protection without enterprise level complexity. So you're focusing on the security level, which is you need the enterprise level, but then you are not going for the enterprise level implementation. So the implementation going to be smooth and easy for you if you go for this Defender for Business, right? So what are the features inside there? So you get EDR. So like I mentioned, endpoint detection and response. So this is what EDR is all about. So nowadays, we are no longer into manual way of workaround. So for example, last time, if you have an antivirus, you have to run the scan, you have to wait for it to identify, and then you have to decide whether you want to take any remediation or not, you want to delete it or you want to, remove it. You have to do all these things manually by yourself. You have to spend a lot of time there. But when it comes to EDR solution, right? So basically it detects, it investigates, and also respond to the threat on your device. So the moment you have this license, so all the manual work that you were doing no longer needed, right? So basically the EDR will do it for you. You just need to implement it one time. So the EDR portion will do all the detection, response, and also, what we call the removal of the threat, right? So other than that, we have next generation antivirus, which is AI-powered anti-malware across your Windows, Mac, iOS, Android. So you can actually use this license in multiple devices, right? So we have threat and vulnerability management. So your admins get a dashboard where they can manage all the threats and vulnerabilities they found. So attack surface reduction, where they reduce attack vectors with network protection and web filtering. So you can set up some filterings, so to protect through a web version of attacks kind of things. So we are not securing your desktop or maybe your laptop. We're also securing how you browse things through your web, right? So automated investigation and remediation. So automatically investigate alerts and remediate threats. So this is where all the EDR portion works, right? And simplified management console. So you get to manage everything in one single dashboard. So not everybody can access, which is your IT team can access, right? So that's the key features of Defender for Business. So now we have Defender for Office 365. So Defender for Business is different. It's focusing on endpoint. Now, Defender for Office 365, I clearly mentioned that it's email protection, right? And as an additional thing, it also protects your document. Okay, not only email, together with your document as well, but in a different plan there. Okay, so now let's look at the free version first. So EOP, if you go and Google about Microsoft email protection, baseline security or anything, they call it EOP, which is Exchange Online Protection. So Exchange Online is the email services that Microsoft provide, and EOP is the protection that Microsoft implemented for the Exchange Online, right? So this is the free version. So anybody that currently in Business Basic or Standard, you already have this EOP. So without EOP, there's no Business Basic or Standard. Only Apps for Business doesn't come with EOP because Apps for Business don't have exchange services, like I mentioned. So things that we have in EOP is anti-spam filtering. All these things are by default, it's already set up, right? You don't have to set up anything. So anti-spam filtering, anti-malware protection, connection filtering, anti-phishing, spoof intelligence, quarantine management, right? So mail flow rules, transport rules, you can create rules, right? And admin audit logs, right? So all these things by default, you already have under the free version, but then you cannot customize it. So that's the thing here. It's a default baseline security, which Microsoft already set up. You cannot change that. You cannot, add more security layers to it, right? So included with Business Basic, Standard, Premium, all Exchange Online plans. So if you purchase Exchange Online plan alone, right? So Exchange Online Plan 1 is also something that you can purchase just for email only. You don't want SharePoint, OneDrive, all these things you don't want. If you're just focusing for email, you can purchase Exchange Online also, and it will also cover this EOP protection, right? So now let's look at Plan 1. We call this Defender for Office 365. The earlier one is Defender for Business. This is for Defender for Office 365, P1, which is $2 per user per month. So you will get everything in EOP. Obviously, you will get the default one. And now your goal is to change it, right? Change the default to your own customized protection. So that's why you purchase P1, right? So one of the things you can do here is you can actually enable safe attachment, sandbox detonation, right? So that's why I mentioned you can even safeguard your attachments, your files, right? So safe link, time of click URL protection. So safe link, for example, if someone shares a link through your emails or through your Teams, you can actually, the moment you click that, it will go through this Defender for Office 365 customly set up protection. And if let's say that particular URL is blocked, then basically you cannot open the link, right? So that's how you can actually do the blockings from Defender for Office 365. And then we have advanced anti-phishing, impersonation protection, real-time detection and protection for SharePoint, OneDrive, and Microsoft Teams, right? So you get a lot of things inside here for $2, right? So let me just explain how it works. So you have 5 security layer, right? Which is anti-spam, anti-phishing, anti-malware, safe attachments, and also safe link. So these are the 5 main things you're going to protect with Plan 1, right? So you can customize your own policy. So whereby you can create your own what we call SEL threshold. So threshold means, for example, if you're receiving a lot of marketing stuff emails, so you can actually customize the level of your security to block all these marketing stuff emails. So instead of you go and block the domain, you just change this phishing or spam level, confidence level, what we call the baseline levels. So there's 0 to 9, and for phishing, we have 0 to 4. So these are the level. So 0 to 9 for spam level means if you are under 0 to 5, that means you are not a spam sender globally. If let's say your email domain is classified or detected from 5 to 9, that means you are one of the spam senders. That's how your domain is already classified. So if let's say the domain is under 6 or 7 and your policy is set to 5, so that particular email which is falls under 6 or 7, right, which is the spam level policy, it will automatically go to quarantine instead of your inbox. So that's how you can set up the spam level SCL. We call it as SCL. And then we have anti-phishing, whereby you can set 1 to 4, sorry, not 0, it's 1 to 4, which is aggressive, more aggressive. You can set it up neutral kind of thing. So aggressive means even normal emails that should be in your inbox, it goes to quarantine sometimes. Why is that so? Maybe their signature, they attach link, and that link is not safe. The link is not properly validated, right? All these things can actually trigger the email goes to quarantine. So this is all these things we can set up on our own. Anti-malware, basically, you can block the type of files that your users can access. For example, zip file or .rar file, the RAR file, they cannot open the files, right? You can actually block all the extensions, right, on your own as an ID admin. So this is plan 1. So when you go for plan 2, you will get everything in plan 1. This is $5. But then the main focus of plan 2 is more of like a real-time investigation, automated investigation, right, which is AIR. So Defender for Business comes with EDR. Defender for Office 365 comes with AIR, which is automated investigation and response. So everything is automated. The moment the threat is found, it automatically applies the remediation, try to remove the link or remove the email automatically, kind of things. Goes to quarantine. You can set up your own policy, whether it goes to quarantine or goes to your junk mail. You can set up all these things, right? So you can work on the simulation training, whereby your IT admin can just send an email pretending to be someone, right? So we can see whether the user is clicking the link or opening the attachment or not. If they open the attachment, it will show them a message saying, you fall for the phishing attack. So please go through the training materials, or they will give some trainings for the users to attend. So usually it's a few bunch of questions that they have to answer so that it makes sure they understand what actually need to be done when we find this type of emails, kind of things, right? So it's a simulation attack. You can work it out in your environment. So you can also go for campaign views, a threat tracker. You can see what type of threats that you always receive. You can track all these threats. And then you have compromised user detection. So if there's any account that compromised, it can detect and then you can actually, take quick action for the compromised account. Okay, so that's what you get inside. So now let's look at when do you really need it, right? So when do you really need email protection, which is the Defender for Office 365. So right now you are on EOP. Okay, so to be honest with you, right now in current environment, EOP is not enough actually. So there's, because security is always there, and also the person or the people behind to break the security is also there. So we have to always, change our securities or update or upgrade our security level in order to keep our, our data secure, right? So if you're on EOP, so I would say it's time to consider, go for plan 1 or plan 2 to protect your documents, your files, and also emails, right? Okay, so standard spam and malware filtering is enough for me. So if you are a small company and receiving very low phishing attacks, then you can just remain in EOP. But if, let's say, we need to stop phishing attack before they reach inboxes. If you are someone that driven to, implement security baseline, so this is where you can start with it, which is comes with $2 per user, which is, I would say, quite less, right? So you can just go for plan 1 if you're looking to, stop phishing attacks. So all these things. If you're on business premium, so you don't have to purchase plan 1. Is already included in business premium. So just now we were in, I would say, around $19. So now you plus $2, you are in $21. Business premium is $22, and we haven't finished yet on what are the things we have in business premium, right? So plan 2, if you're someone that need to investigate any breach or train your employees against attack, like the simulation attack, or the AIR, which is the investigation and response kind of solutions. If you're looking for that, then you should go for plan 2, right? If just for security baseline, you just want to implement some, security, custom security level, then plan 1 should be sufficient enough. So Defender for cloud apps. So I'll just roughly go through what is cloud apps. So, right. So you can see also, basically cloud apps is included on all the enterprise level licenses. You cannot find this in the, basic business licenses. So what are the features is basically it's a shadow IT discovery. So I'll just explain it, what is shadow IT. So basically IT person, but it's not a person. It's just an AI there. Yeah, right. It's just a system there. So that's what cloud apps do. So you have a shadow IT person, right? It's not a regular person, whereby he will be looking at the access, the conditional access. He will be looking at all the incoming, outgoing file sharings, all these things. He will monitor all these things. So the moment he finds something suspicious or something, large quantity is happening, or maybe like a large quantity of downloads or something, it will automatically trigger some alerts kind of things. So that's what it does. So you can see, session control and also reverse proxy, right? Real-time monitoring and blocking of download from unmanaged device. So cloud DLP integration, extend sensitive labels and DLP policies, and then anomaly detection, threat policy, detect impossible travel mass downloads, like I mentioned, file and activity monitoring. So it will monitor all the sharings in and out for any other, environments. And also cloud apps not only looking at your Microsoft environment, cloud apps basically looking at a lot of applications. I would say it's about almost 31,000. Yeah, you can see the first identify 31,000 plus cloud apps. Cloud apps in use and assess their risk score. So you can see 31,000 means even your Google search, your all the searches, all the other applications as well. So it's like a IT person that always sits next to you, so it always looking for all the things that you're doing. So that's cloud apps. So 4.20 per user per month. But if it's an annual commitment, the price is, I believe, so 3.50 $3.50 something, right? So you can always look for cloud apps if you are someone that want to, micromanage all the things. Right. So let's go for the third pillar. So yeah. So let's go for third pillar, which is device management. So right now we are at $21, business standard, including all the planned ones that I've mentioned so far. Okay, so we are at $21. Okay, so if you go for business premium, which is the entire suite is $22, you already get whatever that I explained so far under plan one, and you will get even more when I explain the next two pillars. So it's going to cross that $22 if you go for add-ons. Like if you take all the add-ons lah. But if let's say you're just focusing one add-on like Defender for your email, then it's just a $2 thing. So business standard $10 plus $2 is just going to be $12 only, right? You already protect your emails and also your files. Right, let's go under device management here. Right, so device management, we call this as Intune. So from basic MDMs to full unified endpoint management across every single platform. Right. So basic mobility and security, right? This is the free version, which is MDM for Android, Windows, iOS. So MDM means basically you can download all the application like Outlook, Teams, OneDrive, all these things you can download on your mobile, right? So you can actually just sign in, just start using it. Nobody access it, nobody going to view it, right? So device access control for emails and also documents, remote wipe and retire action, basic security policy, and also limited conditional access. So what is actually the free version can do, they cannot read your data, so don't be scared. If you use your Outlook or Teams, right, the moment you sign in, basically we will get a record on the back end saying that Kishan is actually signed in from this device. So it shows the device name and when the sign-in was happened. So if you leave the organization, the IT admin can just remove the device from the database. So the moment they remove it, what happens is that the Outlook, the business Outlook that you sign in, the Teams Outlook that you sign in, right? It's all automatically sign out. That's it, right? Nothing much they can do from that. Okay, now let's look at Intune Plan 1, right? Intune Plan 1 is $8 per user per month, and this is also included under Business Premium. So just now, after the $3, which is the previous, what we call, before Cloud Apps. So we were at, I believe so, $21. So now you plus this $8, right? So the moment you add this, it goes way more, $29 something, right? So it goes way more further than what Business Premium is offering in a suit, right? So Intune Plan 1 is $8 per user per month. So what are the things you can do, right? That's the main portion here, right? Cross-platform MDM, so manage devices. So basically you're going to manage your devices in all platforms. So not only mobile, so the free version is only mobile. You cannot control anything through the desktop, your laptop, anything, cannot. When it comes to Intune Plan 1, so what you can do here is you can enroll your what we call the devices, the laptops, the MacBooks, your Dell, your Windows, all these things, you can actually enroll them into Intune. So Intune is a cloud version of Active Directory, like your AD server. If you have a physical AD server, and whatever the AD server can do, the creation of group policies and user creation, all those stuff can be managed from Intune portal. And Intune portal doesn't require you to manage a physical server. So it's totally cloud-based, right? So Active Directory is a physical server base. Intune is totally cloud-based. You don't have to see it physically, have it physically, right? So you can actually enroll all the devices. So application management, so you can manage mobile applications as well, right? What are the applications that the user can install from Microsoft application, not their personal applications. Okay. So built-in endpoint security, it comes with the endpoint security as well, right? Where you can create your own policy. You can push your own policy. For an instance, you're going to push a policy saying all the devices that enroll into Intune must be updated. Windows update should be on the latest version and must always restart 2 or 3 days once or 5 days once. You can set up all this policy from the backend, right? So Windows Autopilot, so basically automatically enroll them into Intune, right? Endpoint analytics, so you get a basic analytics view to look at the endpoint threats and kind of things. Co-management with configuration manager. So there's configuration manager dashboard where you can actually manage a lot of Intune related stuffs and policies and a lot of things. You can view whether the device is compliant or not. If it's not compliant, you can see why is it not compliant, what you should do in order to make the device to be in compliant state and everything, right? So this is actually included in business premium, like I mentioned, right? And also in all other enterprise tiers, right? So next up is Intune Plan 2, $4. So you might be thinking, hey, Plan 1, $8. How come Plan 2 is $4? So why not I just purchase Plan 2 straight away, right? So that's the catch here. In order to use Plan 2, you must have Plan 1 first. So Plan 2 will become an add-on on top of Plan 1. So it's not that you either purchase Plan 1 or Plan 2, it's an add-on on top of Plan 1. So if you are in business standard and you purchase Intune Plan 1, right? So you cannot say, hey, Kishan, I want to upgrade to Plan 2, Intune Plan 2. Can you remove Plan 1, the $8? I just want to use the $4. You cannot do that. Because the criteria here is, like I mentioned, add-on license requires Plan 1. So you must have Plan 1, then you attach Plan 2 on top of it. So you get everything in Plan 1. On top of that, what you get is for another $4, which is in total is $12, you get Microsoft Tunnel for MAM per app VPN without enrollment. So you can set up VPNs, right? And then specialty device management. So for example, your conference room. So you have like a device in your conference room, your VRs, shared devices or shared what we call kiosk devices. So all these things like, additional devices that is not your laptop, not your mobile. So there are additional devices, your microphone kind of thing. So you can enroll all those devices under Intune as well. So that's when you require Plan 2, right? So other than that, we have firmware over the air update. So it's like an auto update kind of firmware. Cloud certificate management. So you can manage your own cloud certifications, right? Not the exam certification. So this is basically the security level certifications, right? So this does not include in business premium. So if you purchase business premium and you need this VPN kind of things and everything, you need to get this add-on Intune Plan 2, right? So now let's look at when or which device management tier do you need. So if you're just looking for, we just need to, wipe lost phones or enforce a pin. That's all I just want. I don't want to manage their laptops or anything. Then you just remain under the basic mobility and security. You don't have to go for any other tier. So the free version can do that, right? So no need for app level control, autopilot or Wi-Fi. You don't need all these things. Just remain there. So when do you need Intune Plan 1? So we need full device and app management across all platforms. So that's your main goal. That's the only question you can ask on Intune. There's no any other question or any other ways that you can utilize Intune. If you want to manage the devices, that's the only question you have to ask. We need full device management, then go for Intune Plan 1. Yeah, right. So company-owned laptop need compliance policy, app deployment, and autopilot provisioning. So this is where the Plan 1 comes in, right? So BYOD users need app protection policies, protect company data without enrolling the whole device. So you can actually control your company data in the mobile, using Intune Plan 1, right? Only company data, not their personal data, the company data, okay? So Plan 2, when do you need it? If you are looking for VPN or special devices or premium endpoint tools kind of things, so that's when you require Plan 2. But for SME companies, Plan 1 is sufficient enough. You don't have to go for Plan 2, right? So, and Plan 1 is included in Business Premium as well, right? So now let's look at the fourth pillar, which is the data protection and compliance. And when do you need them? Right. So what is data protection and compliance? What does it do differently compared to all the protection that we saw earlier? So basically, this protects your sensitive data, ensure regulatory compliance, and manage data lifecycle with Purview and also AIP add-on, which is Azure Information Protection, right? So this is more to if you are someone that focusing on the laws, or I would say, regulatory compliance, like on paper compliance kind of thing. This is what it should be. This is how the process should be. Then this is for you lah. But then most of the SME level don't focus up until here because this is mainly for what we call enterprise level tiers. Well, I'll just give you some, overview of it. So the free version, which is the basic compliance, so you have content search across M365. So content search means basically you can, from the admin side, you can search all the contents, your email data, your staff email data, the staff's OneDrive data. If they already leave the organization, you need to do backup. So you can do all these content search backups kind of things. Audit log standard, by default, it's 90 days. So 90 days, you can search for 90 days of audit logs, and you can actually retain it up until 90 days only. So you cannot change that retention policies, right? So you get basic retention policy. So basic means the predefined retention policy, which is Microsoft already built in. 3 years delete, 5 years delete, or 5 years move to archive. You can only use that. You cannot create your own customized what we call retention policy. And then we have what we call message encryption by default for all your emails. Compliance manager basic score, where you can actually look at your tenant or your Microsoft 365, your company compliance score, whether you are compliant enough or not, what's your current percentage, how much you can improve it. So all these things you can look at the dashboard there for free, right? And then manual sensitive labeling. So limited, so it's a manual way. Sensitive labeling means whenever you save a document, right? So you can actually manually add sensitive labels. Maybe this is label. This label is for confidential. This is for private use, or kind of things. You can set your own sensitive labeling, but very, very limited use, and also very, very limited, features that you have in the basic version, right? But mainly nobody will use on the basic free version of compliance. So this free version is included under business basic, and also so you already have it for free. Okay, so now let's look at Purview in premium. So this Purview in premium is included in your what we call business premium, right? So you don't have to purchase as an add-on. If you go for business premium, you already have this premium, right? So preview in premium. So if you are under business basic or standard, the only add-on license that you can purchase, which is Purview Suite, which is $10, right? So Purview Suite is where you can actually go for, right? But before you going there, I would suggest just go for business premium, because just imagine you are on business standard, and then suddenly you go and buy Purview Suite. $10 plus $10 is $20. But if you include what we call $2 more, which is $22, you get everything in business premium, right? Whatever we saw all the while, all the plan one kind of things, you get everything, including the Purview in premium as well. So yeah, that's how you can actually be smart in managing your costs, right? Right. So what are the things included here in everything in basic? Yes, and you have AIP plan 1, Azure Information Protection plan 1, which is manual sensitive labelings and encryptions. So what this AIP does is, like, let's just give you guys a simple idea. So I create a document, I apply sensitive labeling, saying that, or maybe this is confidential for finance use only. So maybe I trade this from the back end. So I apply the sensitive labeling. And I apply the sensitive labeling to finance members only. Okay. Now, what happened if non-finance member open that file or open the document? Maybe someone, trying to sabotage, they share the document to other department. When they try to open it, they just see a blank document inside there, because they are not part of finance department, right? So only finance department can actually look at the data inside there, right? So you can set multiple labelings. So maybe if there's password inside that password should just, cannot be seen by anyone. Only the owner or only this specific department people can see. So you are actually safeguarding the document and cannot copy paste. They cannot actually take a screenshot. So a lot of things that can be done, right? So we have basic DLP. So for Exchange, OneDrive. So DLP means what we call data loss prevention. So you can actually prevent them for more than 90 days. So you can change how many days you want to prevent the data. You want to keep the data, right? Other than that, we have e-discovery standard. So e-discovery is basically a case management or legal hold. So you want to hold certain documents for certain number of days, right? So you can do this. I use this e-discovery portion. Audit standard. Now you can see it moved to 180 days. So audit logs, you can track up to 180 days instead of 90 days in the basic version, right? So other than that, what we have here is we have rights management, Azure, which is managing access rights. And then you have data lifecycle management. So basic retention labels. So you can attach labels for lifecycle management, right? So this is also included in all enterprise tiers together with premium license. So not under business basic or standard. So Purview suite. So everything that you have in Purview in premium, you will have in Purview suite. Additionally, you have advanced DLP, which is for endpoint teams, trainable classifications. So you can actually train the classifications. Like, for example, you can actually collect data based on keywords. So you can set some keywords and then it will go through all your documents in Microsoft environment, in your environment. It will give, okay, there are 150 files that contains word password. And then there are 100 files that actually contain word account numbers. So you get all this data. So once you get all these data, then you can actually proceed with implementing the labeling from the backend itself. You don't have to go through manually one by one. Just imagine you have 1,000 files. You're not going to go one by one. So you have this dashboard where you get all this report. Then from that report, you can actually, do all this labeling kind of stuff, right? You can go check for insider risk management. So audit premium. So you can see the audit now moves to 1 year plus retention. So no longer under 80 days. It goes to more than 1 year, right? So you can actually keep track of audit logs or all the changes, whoever doing anything for more than 1 year, right? So, and then we have communication compliance, record management. So again, automated retention and file planning, right? And also we have information barrier and customer key encryption. So all these things comes under the Purview suite, which is main focus on enterprise level, not on the user level, right? So enterprise suite is actually a standalone. It does not include in any of even enterprise license also. So the premium version of Purview is included in all the enterprise, but if they are looking for advanced DLP, advanced level audit logs kind of things, they have to get this additional Purview suite. Even if they are an enterprise company, they have to purchase this. So now again, we go for Azure Information Protection. So like I mentioned, the previous one, which is the compliance tier. So this is more of like a basic understanding. And when you need it only if you're purchasing business premium, right? The basic one is the common things that you have, nothing much there. All the things your IT admin can access. If you're going for premium, then you can get the mid tier. And if you are enterprise level, then you can go for purview suite. So that's the when you need, because I don't create proper when you need slide because it's not really necessary as a standalone license. Right. So Azure Information Tier. So we got 3 tiers here. So one is the free version. So Azure Information Protection is called as AIP. So this is where we classify, we label, and we protect sensitive documents and email across your organization. So free version, consume protection, content, office message encryption, basic rights management, manual protection in Outlook, admin control. So all the basic things are there, which is what we call rights management, or who's actually at the backend, all the EOP, like I mentioned, Azure Exchange Online Protection, all these things are included to safeguard the data. Okay, now Azure Information Protection AIP Plan 1, which is $2 per user per month, is included in Business Premium. Okay. So what does it do is manual sensitive labeling. So you can create manual sensitive labeling, basic classification and labels, right? You can set labels to any documents, your emails, right? So encryption and right management is there, document tracking and revocation. So you can track your documents, you can revoke access using this information protection, right? So RMS connectors for on-prem. So this is for on-prem users. And then BYOK encryption key support. So this is something that you get in AIP Plan 1. So main thing that you get is the manual sensitive labeling and basic classification and labeling. That's the two main portion that we focus on Plan 1. And this is also included in Business Premium. Yeah. So you can see when do you need this. I just add it as a small portion. I'll just explain it. So when do you need this is basically if your staff need or must manually classify and label documents, right? So if they require to label the documents, whether it's sensitive or whether it's confidential, non-confidential kind of things, labelings, then you need this. So plan 2, $5 per month per user. So you get everything in plan 1. Additionally, you get automatic classification and labeling. So it applies automatic labelings. So remember, I mentioned you can actually detect all the keywords based on keywords kind of things, right? So once you detect all the keywords of the document, right, it will automatically add labeling. So this is where, like I mentioned, you don't have to manually go each file label things. You can just apply, okay, when it comes to password or account number, make it as confidential. Then it will automatically assign the labeling to all the documents as confidential, right? So content inspection, platform matching, and then trainable classification. So you can train. So trainable classification means it's like understanding the normal or common words or keywords that your users are using. So you train the AI and then you just, use the existing labelings to attach to each document by default, right? So user-defined condition, hold your own key. That's what we call HYOK. So it comes under plan 2 as well, right? So other than that, this is also enterprise level, right? So which is e-discovery, right? So we have content search for free, and then standard version of e-discovery comes under business premium, right? And premium version comes under purview, which is the suite, the entire suite, purview suite e-discovery. So remember, we look at the number of retention, like 90 days, under 80 days. So that's what e-discovery is all about, right? So export result for review, and then you can see case management. So all these things under e-discovery, you can export data out, right? But what we call the tier of license is based on the retention period, which is the 90 days, 180 days, and 1 year plus, right? So audit logs. So audit standard 90 days, business basic and standard, 180 days for business premium and all these things, right? So similarly to what we saw earlier. So audit logs is basically any changes that you do, for example, license removal or document delete. All these things are actually documented. So in case we need to do some audits, maybe, before you leave the organization, you delete everything and then you leave. So we can actually trace back this audit log and we can identify which user deleted from where, whether it's from the office network or home network, or whether it's the date and which IP address. A lot of information can be gathered from these audit logs. Right. So data retention. So basic is organization wide, retain or delete by location. You can actually choose to retain. So for example, maybe a senior figure from your organization leave the organization, right? You want to retain their documents or retain their emails for maybe 7 years. You can actually set up this what we call data retention policy, right? You can retain it for this number of days, or if let's say someone that recently joined is leaving the organization and you want to clean up something and use the account or anything, you can just choose to delete all the data inside there, kind of things, right? So these are the things that you can do from the data retention level. So retain or delete is something that you can do. So each tier gives you some additional or advanced features. So this is something I just wanted to show you in a glimpse, right? Okay, so now we are actually almost at the end of the session. So I would like to share here, which is Microsoft 365 Copilot business pricing option, which is extended until 30 June. So last time they were offering until March, but now they extended until 30 June. So if you are someone that looking for business licenses, right? Maybe you already have business basic or standard. Maybe your renewal is around the corner. Now you're actually looking for Copilot integration as well. Maybe you are using business standard. But if you purchase Copilot business, which is a standalone license, you should go for you basically need to purchase it for $21, which is the regular price. But the current promo price is actually $18, right? So $18 at the moment. So if you go for a combo like a business basic and Copilot business, so you can see it's $27, which is a fixed price, right? So, and then you have business standard and Copilot business, and you can see the user requirement is minimum 10 to 300, which is the minimum requirement. At least 10 users, you should get them into this particular license option, right? So you cannot purchase one. If you want to purchase one or two license, then you should go for Copilot Business Standalone SKU, right? Okay, so Business Standard plus Copilot Business, you can go for $22 at the moment. So once the promo is end, it will go for $33.50, right? So you can just imagine that Business Standard is $10. And then the moment you add Copilot Business Standalone SKU, which is the $21, then it comes about $30+. But right now, the promo price is actually $22 itself. You can get it for $22. If you're looking for security and also Copilot, Business Premium is the best value for security plus AI, right? So all the features that we look at, the Business Premium features, if you have business standard and you purchase each add-ons, right, it goes beyond than $22. Like it's like $35, right? If you go for business premium, it's $22. You get all the security features now. And then if you add on this Copilot, you will get it for $32 under promo price, right? So 22 plus another $10, you get Copilot already. If you purchase as a standalone, from business premium and another standalone, so $22 plus $21 or even $18, it's about $40, right? It's almost $8 you are saving by going for the bundle, which is business premium and also Copilot business, right? So if you are really interested on the licensing like upgrades, or you want to explore your current licenses into these specific options, right? So feel free to reach out our sales team, right? You can always reach out to VLAN, so we can actually always give you some best recommendation, best solutions for you, right? So that's the end of our session. So basically now we're actually looking at the Q&A. So I'm just giving you, some questions here. If you don't have any questions, but let's just look at the Q&A session right now. Right. So if there's any questions, feel free to ask. I'll just answer it. We have almost a bit of time. All right. So, okay, I think we have about few questions here. Okay. So let's just move from the top. Okay. So the first question is, we are considering AI and Copilot in future, but our processes are still very manual today. What should businesses fix first before jumping into AI? Okay, all right. So if you're considering AI and also Copilot, right? It depends. I would say you can ask two questions first to yourself. Are you looking for Copilot usage on your PowerPoint or Word document kind of things, or you are really looking into implementing Copilot into your SharePoint and OneDrive document? These two are two totally different, because if you are looking for what we call a SharePoint and OneDrive integration, then we have to do some cleanup first, right? We have to do a proper cleanup. We have to look at the documents. We have to analyze all the documents before we enrolling all the documents into Copilot. So once you enroll into Copilot, what happens is you can actually search using Copilot. You can search all the documents related to your organization. So it gives all the data or all the summaries of the documents and kind of things. But if you don't enroll all the documents from SharePoint OneDrive into Copilot, then the Copilot is actually just the assistant for you in all the application, like to compose your email, to draft your emails, to prepare your PowerPoint slides, to work on your Word document, or for assisting on your Excel formula. So it becomes your personal assistant. So these are the two main things that you have to, I would say, we need to focus before jumping into Copilot, whether you want to implement it on your SharePoint or just for your personal assistant usage, right? So yeah, I'll just type it out also. Identify if it's for personal usage or enrollment enrollment into organization files. Okay. So this is something we have to understand. Then we can actually look for the best solution, possible solution, right? So thank you for the question. Okay. So next question. Hi, Mr. Kishan. For SMEs with limited budget, what should be prioritized first? Security, collaboration, automation, or AI? Okay. So if you are under budget constraint or anything, so my first thing is, like I mentioned in my slides also, your first focus should be on your security part, which is securing your emails and also documents, right? Which is going for Defender for Office 365. So you can actually secure your emails and documents first before you move on to the next stage, which is your, getting the Defender for your laptop, or maybe enrolling the entire device under Intune. So all these things comes first before you go for, automation and AI is something that you can always go for it anytime. Automation is already there, free. You can explore it. AI, it depends on your budget, because AI comes with additional budget there with Copilot. But if you're someone that okay to go with security baseline and also AI, then you can just go with business premium and also the Copilot, suite. Or if let's say you just need one security, which I mentioned just now, Defender for Office 365, then you go for business standard. You get Defender for Office 365 plan 1, which is $2, $2 or $3 something, right? $2 per user. So you get that, it becomes $12. Then you get Copilot as an add-on, right? So it comes about still $40. So it's better go for business premium and also, the Copilot budget, which is like around $32. So yeah, So AI is like Copilot is quite, I would say, a bit expensive. So it's better to always bundle up things instead of going for standalone license, right? Okay, so I would say focus on email security, which is Defender for Office 365. Plan one before going too deep, right? So that's my suggestion. Right, thank you. Thank you for the questions. Okay, there's one more question. Okay, how can SME avoid paying for licenses or features they don't fully utilize? Okay, so this is actually most SMEs actually fall for, right? They always pay more, right? But they don't use it. So that's the reason, the main reason for today's webinar. And the way I presented is also focusing and asking the right question. Whether do we really need this, right? So if let's say how we can avoid is basically you can always reach out if you are I don't know if everyone is our client, you can always reach out to VLAN. Just reach out to your account manager, ask them, hey, what is the license that I purchased? Is it business standard or business premium? If it's business premium, may I know, am I using all the features? Is it everything set up or not? Because there were a client whereby they purchased business premium before. But then when we asked whether all the implementation is done, because they were purchased business premium from another vendor, then they wanted to renew with us. Then when we ask whether the implementation is done or not, we understand that there's no implementation is done. They're just using whatever business standard is providing them. So it's like they're using $10 of features, but then they're paying $22. So $12 of worth is not utilized actually. So that's why we explain all the implementation stuff, what are the things they can do, then they actually proceed to gradually implement one by one in their environment. So you can always reach out to us to understand what is your current license and whether you are utilizing it fully or not, right? So that's my recommendation. So you can actually explore, I would say, explore your license usage with VLAN team, right? So let's look at if there's any more questions. Okay, one, two. Okay, okay, this is done. Okay, I think so. Under the Q&A session, there's nothing much. It's in the general chat. So can check after all the questions. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay, so there's general questions here. Okay, so good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, right. So yeah, hi, may I know if there are any standalone license add-ons available on top of Microsoft 365 Business Basic? If I only need add-on conditional access or conditional access with DLP. All right. So if you're looking for Business Basic and also add-on conditional access, right? So for conditional access, like I mentioned, it depends on what are the focus area. If you're just focusing on restricting location or restricting where, like the question that I asked, where the users should be in order to access your data, then you can always go for Entra ID P1, right? So you can go for Entra ID P1 as an add-on to Business Basic. So basically, the location decides whether they can access the data or not with Business Basic. So you can always go for Entra ID P1 because your main focus is about securing the identity and your data. So it always falls under access and identity. So yeah, you can go for Entra ID P1 before moving on to any other license tier, right? So Salvesh Kumar, so do SMEs really need project online desktop client or is Planner is enough? Okay, so based on my experience with some of our clients, it depends on what type of or how advanced are you looking for a project planner, because there are a lot of what we call project management tool outside of Microsoft, right? If you're someone that requires to assign or maybe work on a big portfolio, and then you want to assign tasks to an email address outside of your environment, kind of things, all these things, then I would say it requires the additional desktop client, the higher tiers of license for project plan. If you're someone that would like to manage all the planners internally, not externally, just internal people, or maybe for your purpose or anything, the planner is enough actually. You don't have to go for more than that. So if it requires external sharing or big portfolio management, that's where you go for the desktop client, the plan 3 or plan 5 even, right? So that's answer for Salvesh. So another question, does plan 3 already cover most operational project management needs for SMEs? Yes. Yes, you are right, actually. So Plan 3 is actually covering most of the needs for a SME clients for project management. Because when I actually go for Plan 5, mostly when I see who is actually using Plan 5 is the enterprise level companies. And if let's say you are someone that managing, a big number of users, kind of things. So that's when Plan 5 is needed. If not, Plan 3 is perfectly fine for SME companies, right? And it's for operational needs, it's just good enough for Plan 3, right? So last one, I'm wondering, how should leadership measure return of investment from automation beyond just time saved? Okay, all right. So should leadership measure ROI from automation beyond just time saved? So, okay, so based on my understanding, how we can actually measure the return of investment that we are looking at automation level. Okay, so automation level, it's something that comes with together with the user, like you mentioned, how you're going to handle through leadership, right? The amount that you're going to spend here, right, on each of the what we call automation licenses, or maybe there are other defender licenses which comes with all this automation kind of stuff, right? So you must have someone that actually can manage it really well, right? So that you like mentioned, beyond the time saving, this is actually save a lot of things. Like in terms of, let me just give you some what are the things it save. The moment you implement all this automation stuff, right? For example, if it's a defender, so attacks can happen anytime, right? So attacks can happen anytime. So if you are, let's say, off working hours, you are not monitoring anything, you don't look at the alerts, kind of things. So this type of automations, right? So can actually not only save your time, but actually save your data even before you get the notification, or even before you jump in front of your laptop. So that's actually, I would say, if you're looking at measure return of investment, then ransomware is one of the example I could take. Instead of getting all those ransomware attacks, or we need to pay something ransoms and everything. So before we get into that level, we can actually implement the securities, and that over time, that investment really would for us to invest actually, right? So I believe I answered your question. So yeah. So I'm just gonna get a bit up time. Okay, so right. So is there any questions? That was the last question. There's nothing in the Q&A session. So yeah. So if you have any questions regarding our webinar, so you can always reach out to us, right? So if there's nothing else, we can actually wrap up this webinar. Thank you everyone for attending, and I hope I deliver something valuable for you guys, and something that you can actually always look into it, right? So looking forward to for next webinar whenever they request from me. Thank you everyone. Have a nice day. Thank you. Welcome.